Hello, and welcome to Dratman Plays XCOM Enemy Within. XCOM Enemy Within is the first, and I believe only, major expansion to the 2012 game XCOM Enemy Unknown, which was a remake of an earlier game called XCOM Enemy Unknown or XCOM UFO Defense, depending on your region. That earlier game was released in 1994, has quite a cult following, and is regarded as an excellent game. I remember playing it a little bit back in the day when it came out, but I never really made it very far in the game, even though I enjoyed it. It wasn't until 2012 that I bought and played XCOM Enemy Unknown, and it quickly became one of my very favorite games. It is arguably one of the most influential turn-based strategy games of the modern era, if you will. And it has quite a following as well. And despite coming out in 2012, I think it holds up pretty well against today's games. Enemy Within came out in 2013 and added some extra content, and that's the version that I'm going to be playing here, just because it's got a bit more variety to it. What else do I want to say about the series? Well, I guess I'll start off by saying that although I've played this game a few times over the years, like over the past 8 years, I've probably played it beginning to end 4 or 5 times maybe. Maybe only once in the Enemy Within version, so this will be a bit more of a challenge for me, because although I've played this game a fair bit, I haven't played it all the way through, the Enemy Within expansion, that is. I don't consider myself to be especially good at this game. As I said, I've played it through a few times, so I kind of know what to expect. I know the mechanics and so forth. But I'm not a genius strategist, and I'm going to make mistakes. So I'm not going to guarantee that this Let's Play will result in finishing the game successfully. I certainly hope that it will, but we'll have to see. I guess other comments I'll make is that I'm going to let all the in-game cinematics play through without interruption. Just because I feel like that gives a fuller experience to the game, and while you're watching this, you're absolutely free to skip ahead if you want to skip those cinematics, but if I skip them for you, you wouldn't have the choice to watch them if you chose. So I'll leave them in for the recording. Okay, let's see here. I think I've got all sort of the software options the way I want in terms of, video graphics settings. I think I've got everything set to high, given that I've got a fairly good computer and this is an older game. Yeah, so let's start a single-player game here. I'm going to leave it at normal difficulty because, as I said, I don't consider myself to be especially good at this game. And I don't want this to be a brutal series of accidents and misfortunes. So let's give ourselves a chance to be successful here. And the other thing I'll say about that is I'm not going to do any aborting of missions and restarting them or reverting to old saves. I might not officially, actually I pretty much decided I'm not officially going to do an Iron Man run, just because there's always a slight chance that if something goes wrong with your save file and you can't load it, then the playthrough is borked at that point. It's done. So I won't officially do Iron Man, but I'm going to play it like an Iron Man. I'm only going to save when I exit the game, and I'll only load each mission once, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so let's check out advanced options. I'm not going to enable either of the tutorials. They're mainly for the benefit of someone who's never played the game before, and if you're watching this having never played it before, you don't need to see these. I'll explain to you how the game works, and you'll pick it up pretty quickly. I will activate Operation Progeny. That just gives us a few extra interesting missions to do. We'll keep Slingshot on. As I said, we won't officially do Iron Man. We will reduce beginner voiceover because it's frankly irritating. Let's look at the second wave options. Alright, so Damage Roulette increases the variety of or range of damage that can be done by weapons. I think for a standard rifle, for example, it does 2 to 4 damage. If you put on Roulette, it might do something like 1 to 5. My experience is that on average it kind of reduces the average damage a little bit in giving you that wider range. just because later on certain weapons might do like 6 to 8, and I think with the roulette on it might increase the maximum a little bit, but lower the lowest damage you can do by quite a lot. And that's interesting, and I've played games with damage roulette on. My main objection to it is that this is a strategy game. You're constantly making decisions based on, the perceived probabilities of certain outcomes, and I feel like the percentage chance to hit is the main piece of information I want to use in making my decision. So for example, I'm shooting at an alien. I know he's got 3 hit points left. I know my weapon is likely to do at least 3. Then my decision is, okay, what's my chance to hit him or not? If I also have to take into consideration the fact that I might hit him but not do lethal damage, then that just makes things that much more complicated. And I don't think that you as the viewer want to watch me spend that extra amount of time thinking through every single decision. So just for simplicity's sake, I'm leaving this off. New economy, I believe that just randomizes the amount of money you can get from each member nation, which is fine, but I don't particularly see any value in that. It just makes things a little bit different, but there's no real strategic benefit or penalty, really. Not created equally. This one I actually like. This one causes rookie stats to be a bit more variable. I believe that in the base game, it's like every new recruit has an aim of about 60 and a will of about 40, give or take, and there's not a lot of variability, whereas this creates quite a bit of range in terms of initial stats, and if you're really lucky you can get a couple recruits that have a very high aim right off the bat. Hidden potential, I think when this is off, your soldiers' stats, like their aim and their will, increase a little bit each level, but I think it's kind of a fixed amount. With hidden potential, you get more variety there, and I think that seems to me like a bit more fun. Gives you a bit more variety in terms of your soldiers' development and how they'll develop. Training roulette. I'm not going to use this. See the description here. Each soldier's training tree will be mostly randomly generated. So what that means is that when this is not enabled, each soldier will have a class, and that will dictate what abilities you can gain as they level up. Usually, in most cases, you have a choice of 2 at each level. When training roulette is on, you have the choice, or you'll be given 1 or 2 options, but they won't necessarily be from that class. And that results in a greater variety of skills. That sounds pretty cool. The main drawback of this is that it makes it more difficult, in my opinion, to develop soldiers that have a set of complementary skills. Because by default, the skills of a certain class's structure all tend to complement one another. Like, for example, with support, you can get a perk that gives you, I think, extra smoke grenades, and then later on you can get a perk that makes your smoke grenades do more, like have greater buffs and what have you. Being able to take both of those in sequence complement one another. If you chose the extra grenades, but you never had the opportunity to choose the added buff to smoke, then that would kind of reduce the effectiveness of having made that initial choice. Anyway, I don't want to ramble on about this too much. My point is that it's sometimes harder to develop soldiers that have a nice set of skills that complement one another. On the flip side, and the reason why you might want to turn this on, is that sometimes you can get really cool combinations by mixing and matching skills from different classes. So if you're lucky, you get something awesome, and if you're not lucky, you just end up with characters that aren't very useful. So I'm going to leave that off. Save scum, I will leave that off. Let's get the description. Oops. Here we go. Loading a save game will reset the random number seed, so taking identical action may result in different results. So you want to turn this on if you are playing the game at a very high difficulty, and you want to be saving your game like every couple of minutes through each mission, so that when you do a risky action, you have the option to like rewind, load your save game, and try again and potentially have a different outcome. Well, we're not going to be doing that. As I said, I'm not going to redo actions by loading save games. Aiming angles. Units receive a name bonus the closer they are to flanking an enemy. I've used this at times. Essentially, the idea is that when you're looking an enemy straight on and they're behind cover, you get that maximum cover, or they get that maximum cover reduction to your aim. Whereas if you have them flanked, you get a bonus, and you're more likely to do critical damage. This basically just says that if you almost have them flanked, and maybe I'll discuss this when we actually have a map to look at, I prefer to leave this off just because I think just the Boolean kind of, yes, you're flanked or are flanking someone or you're not, is an adequate consideration without having to worry about the degree to which you are sort of flanking an enemy or not. Okay, let's start the game. Yes, I'm sure that we do not want the tutorial experience. Those who play with the devil's toys will be brought by degree to wield his sword. Buckminster Fuller.
In light of the recent extraterrestrial incursion, this Council of Nations has convened to approve the activation of the XCOM project. You have been chosen to lead this initiative, to oversee our first and last line of defense. Your efforts will have considerable influence on this planet's future. We urge you to keep that in mind as you proceed. Good luck, Commander.
Okay, so now we have to choose where to put our base. So each continent has a continent bonus, and the location of your base provides you with that the bonus corresponding to the continent that your base is put in. And then the other continent bonuses can be acquired by launching satellites in all the member nations from the respective continent. So, for example, in North America there is Canada, the United States, and Mexico. If we put our base here, we would immediately get the air and space bonus. If we don't, we can get the air and space bonus by putting satellites over those three countries. So what's the benefit from, what is the continent bonus for North America? All aircraft and aircraft weapons cost 50% less to produce, build, and maintain. That's very useful. I mean, all the bonuses here are useful. Europe, laboratories and workshops cost 50% less to build and maintain. Asia, all projects in the Foundry and the Officer Training School cost 50% less. South America, we have ways, autopsies and interrogations are completed instantly. Africa, all in. Monthly XCOM funding increased by 30%. So ideally, we will get all 5 of these continent bonuses. As soon as we lose a member nation, that makes it impossible to get the bonus from that continent. So the one we pick first is basically the one we have guaranteed to us. I have tried all of them. my main criticism of Europe and Asia is that, well, in the case of Europe, I typically don't build very many laboratories or workshops. And in Asia, I will certainly be building some of the Foundry and Officer Training School projects, but there really aren't that many. I think there's only 6 items in the Officer Training School, so you might save a couple hundred credits by getting a discount on those. I think the projects in the Foundry might cost a bit more. Maybe that's the main benefit to this. But I do find it's fairly specific, because think of it this way. You get a 50% cost decrease on certain things, whereas if you were to pick Africa, you'd get a flat 30% increase to all your funding, which would apply basically to anything you might want to spend your money on. So I certainly prefer Africa over Europe and Asia, and same thing with North America. These things cost 50% less, but if I'm getting 30% more money by choosing Africa, then that almost, it doesn't have the same benefit, but it's like I'm getting near the same benefit that I get from all 3 of these continents. Now, South America is the other interesting one. Autopsies and interrogations are completed instantly. I really like that, because what it means is that you don't need to waste time researching. Like when you do an autopsy or an interrogation, it counts as research and takes a few days. When they're done instantly, you can focus your research program exclusively on your other technologies. And anytime you have an opportunity to do an autopsy or interrogation, you get it right away, and you don't have to waste any time on it. Now, I'm not going to choose South America as my starting nation because this continent bonus is actually pretty easy to get. There's only 2 countries in this continent. Well, for the purposes of this game, of course, there are others in real life. So as soon as you get a satellites over both Argentina and Brazil, you get this continent bonus. So what I've done in the past and what I'm going to try to do for this playthrough is start in Africa, and then try to prioritize getting satellites over the member nations in South America first to, well, maybe not absolutely first, but sooner rather than later, so that we can get that useful continent bonus.
Listen up. We're going to be dropping you deep in the Nigerian interior for the next operation. We've picked up a local broadcast indicating alien activity within a major metropolitan area. We should get down there and eliminate any hostiles.
All right, we're heading to Kaduna, Nigeria. The mission objective is to neutralize all hostile targets, and since we don't have an Arc Thor, that just means killing them. And we should also look for and secure meld canisters as we come across them.
Strike 1, this is Central. You are free to engage all hostile contacts in the AO. Don't take any chances.
Okay. What do we know about the map? So this is the corner here. So there's probably a little bit of space on this side of the building. So we've got a bit of an alley here, a very narrow one. Large parking lot here. And looks like a large building that has at least 2 different stores inside of it. So my general strategy is to play it pretty cautiously. If I was playing Enemy Unknown, I would probably move once and then put my soldiers into Overwatch almost every single turn. However, the introduction of Meld gives us an incentive to move a bit more quickly, because those canisters have a limited time that they are available to be retrieved. So that does provide an incentive to move in a bit more quickly.
Moving out.
Aha, I think we just discovered one. So what I think we should do is move across this parking lot, collect that meld. If we come across any enemies, we'll deal with them. And then once we get here, we can sort of move towards this building and go inside and see if we can find the second meld canister. See, I want to both move my soldiers as far as possible and also get them to cover. Yeah, let's move her to here. And we'll move this fella. Now, I think his move, like the numbers tiles he can move is quite a bit shorter than hers because she started here, and he can barely move one more space than she can. Dare I dash up here? Maybe just to here.
On y va.
On y va, which means let's go in French. I might leave these two here to go on Overwatch, and I might move her up a little bit more.
J'abouge.
How about up to here?
Got it covered. Visual on the goods.
Okay. Will of 43, offense of 55. That's not so good. Let's see. She can't get much closer, or she can't even get to this vehicle. Well, we've got 4 turns to get to this one, but probably a few less to get to the next one. Just trying to think. I might have to dash her, in which case I probably don't want to dash both of these guys over here.
Hauling ass.
I think so she dashed, he can go on Overwatch. I want at least one of these two to be able to go on Overwatch. So maybe I will dash her up to here.
J'y cours. Cible détectée.
Okay.
Tout de suite.
So these guys are pretty far. They might be able to take a shot at her. I think I might bring this guy in because, well, let's see what his chance to hit is. Oh, he can't hit anyone. Yeah, so I'm going to bring him up a bit just so he will potentially be able to shoot next time. Same thing with Tristan here. Can't really see. I think this is, yeah, full cover here. So they both went on Overwatch. Okay. Interesting. So that means if either of our, or if any of our soldiers move, they get a free shot. Let's see. 35% chance to hit. Also 35. Yeah, it's the problem with these rookie soldiers. They have generally pretty poor aim. Actually, you know what? Let's... Tristan's offense is 60. Ooh, Bernadette is 70. Yeah, so we can see that her chances to hit these guys is a little bit better. $65, okay. Well, we can run and hope to draw some fire. So, okay. This guy. How do we take him out? She could come up here. She might receive an overshot, or sorry, an Overwatch shot. But I'm not sure. I guess maybe we should take the shots that we're gonna take first and then see after that. Alright, coin flip.
Alien neutralisé.
We got lucky there. Alright, Tristan. I might bring him up. He'll probably get shot at, so we're gonna cross our fingers here. That's a fire distance. Oh. Of course he hit. Yeah, okay. That was not so great. So what I might end up doing is blowing this guy up with a grenade because... Well, let's make sure I don't have any other options first. I don't want this guy to take another shot at him. And he's only got a 40% chance of hitting him with his rifle. So I guess I can get closer.
On my way.
See if I can take him out without having to use a grenade. Man, it's not a good chance, is it? Oh, well, it's roughly 1 in 3. Could happen.
Taken care of.
Oh, we got lucky.
Location confirmed.
I'm rushing her up just because I thought there's a reasonable chance we're not going to see more enemies right here. And I don't want to have to bring him up here because he's the weakest soldier we've got, and I don't want him to get killed. I'm going to keep him back for the most part. In fact, I'm even going to, well, I'll overwatch him. But yeah, I don't want to have him on the front line for the rest of this mission.
In hand, Commander.
Okay, so we got at least one meld canister. And I doubt anyone can make it to cover over here. So what I might do is have her dash here just so she can see in the building and further down this alley. At least she's behind full cover.
10-4.
Okay, so we didn't reveal any enemies there. Might do the same thing here with
Location confirmed. Got something over
Jamaica.
here.
So again, I want to keep him back a little bit. Yeah. Coming here doesn't make her any better of a target than these two who are already here, so there's not really
Je bouge.
a drawback. It's probably a pretty low percentage shot, so yeah, except the fact that that was a miss. Oh, that guy's going out into the alley. Oh, he's taking a shot. What a nasty little guy. So this guy's on Overwatch, I believe, so we don't want to move if we can help it. Not the best shot, but I can't move to a better position easily. Now, we do have an option. First of all, let's see what her chance is. Oh, jeez. Look at the other guy. She can throw a grenade. And... maybe I don't... nope. Okay. So what I was going to say is if she blew this cover up, that would lower the defense that this guy's got. So, for example, let me just clarify that point. 42% chance to hit. Why is that? Well, because our base aim is 55. We have a range bonus because we're close, but we have a penalty because of the low cover. So if we blew up that cover, the percent chance would go up to 62. And honestly, that's actually maybe not high enough to really make this worthwhile. Okay, so he might just end up shooting it. That guy. And what was her chance? 50 against this guy. He is not on Overwatch, but if she were to run here, for example, like he might be able to see through there. Which makes me feel like I want to try to take him out if I can. So, yeah, low roll, but I really would like to kill this guy. Okay. Hope for the best. Oh, man. We're getting lucky. We hit a 35, we hit a 42. Now this guy's flanked. We should have a fairly good chance to hit him. 65. Oh, I guess our chance to crit is increased, not our chance to hit. Okay. Well, let's take the shot.
X-ray down.
Good work out there, Strike One.
If I may, Commander, the labs are on high alert. Teams are standing by for your orders. We can begin researching the newly recovered artifacts immediately.
So we benefited from some very lucky rolls on some of those shots that we took. So that's why this mission went as easily as it did. Unfortunately, we did have one injury, but it was not a fatal injury, so that's
Commander to the
good.
research labs. Commander to the research labs.
Welcome to XCOM HQ, Commander. I'm Central Officer Bradford. My role in this project is twofold: providing tactical support for our field operations, and keeping you briefed on the current situation. My efforts should allow you to focus on the bigger issues at hand. Speaking of which, we have a soldier waiting for a promotion in the barracks. I'll let you get to it.
Thank you, Bradford.
Commander to the research labs.
Okay.
Commander to the research labs.
Yeah, I've got 3 promotions. I think it only takes 1 kill of something as lowly as a sectoid to promote to squaddy. Unfortunately, Tristan didn't get a kill. So let's start with Chimeka from Nigeria.
Commander to the research
Chimeka
labs.
Legotho.
Commander to the research labs.
He has been promoted to a sniper, which is interesting because it seems not particularly good. Oh well, it will increase as he levels up, I suppose. Alright, rookie Feng Cheng has been promoted to an assault. She had the higher aim. If I were to choose, I would rather these two were reversed, but what can you do? So she's our first assault. And rookie Bernadette Mercier has been promoted to a heavy. She's got a good aim too. Okay, and a good will. Okay, she has potential.
The recovered artifacts are being unloaded, and the research team is waiting your orders. We'll get started as soon as you give the order, Commander.
Okay, so we got
Commander to the research
4
labs.
sectoid corpses,
Commander to the
8 weapon
research
fragments,
labs.
and 20 meld. Very good. Okay, what do we need to do first? Well, you know what? Before I finish with these soldiers, I'm going to update them a little bit. I like to color code my soldiers so that when they're on the battlefield, I can more easily distinguish who is who. So I like to make my snipers black because they're like assassins, striking
Commander
at a
to the
distance
research
to an
labs.
unknown foe.
Commander to the research labs.
Yeah, that'll do. And assault, I like to make red. There we go. And heavies, green. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Now let's have a look at what other rookies we have here. So Keith Brown has pretty
Commander to the
mediocre
research
stats.
labs.
It's an
Commander
average
to the
aim and not a
research
particularly
labs.
good will. Zena Katsaros is also average-ish. Same with Ruben Kelly. Yukiko Hayashi has above average will. Eva Solovyova is fairly average. Ooh, Tiffany Dixon from Canada has an
Commander
80
to the research
aim.
labs. Commander to the research
So I think
labs.
she's the one we'll probably bring in on our next mission. Ooh, and Yuzuki Murakami also has an above average aim. Galena Petrova, that's a very good starting will and average aim. And poor Tristan, wounded. He'll be in the infirmary for 9 days. Alright. Let's go to the research labs.
Hello, Commander. My name is Dr. Farlan. I oversee the research labs. This is where all of XCOM's research and development takes place. We have already begun analyzing the artifacts recovered from our first encounter with the aliens. Based on our preliminary findings, we believe we can use them to develop some new equipment for our soldiers. With your approval, we will begin research immediately.
Okay, let's start our first research project. Okay, so meld recombination is new. This is a prerequisite to 2 facilities that will allow us to either build mechs or genetically enhance our soldiers.
Commander to engineering.
We will eventually do this, but I don't think it's a priority right off the bat because of the need to build the additional facilities. Also, we don't have very much meld, so we wouldn't be able to do many upgrades one way or another anyhow, at least not yet. Additionally, the genetic enhancements you might want to perform on your soldiers are permanent, and my feeling is that you would want to wait until you have some higher ranking soldiers that you are a little bit more confident are going to last, let's say, because you wouldn't want to genetically modify a rookie and then have them die the next mission. So I'm going to hold off on this. Alien materials. I believe this is I'm not sure what additional technologies come from it, but I believe that completing this particular research goal gives you access to building nanofiber vests, which I never build. I'd rather have a grenade. The vest is an additional sort of utility item that you can
Commander to engineering.
that a soldier can carry.
Commander to engineering.
But since soldiers can only carry one thing, you'd have to choose to take that vest over any other option. Weapon fragments. I believe that this will allow us to build scopes, and I definitely want to get a scope for my sniper, given that his aim's only 60. Xenobiology leads to the ability to create the arc thrower, which is an item that allows you to stun aliens, and also allows you to build a containment facility. So we definitely want to do this at some point sooner rather than later. But I think I'm going to do weapon fragments so I can get that scope soon.
I agree. That does seem to be the most pressing of our current research options. We'll begin immediately. I will notify you when a complete report is available.
Thank you, Dr. Vaughn. I appreciate the support.
Ah, Commander. I was wondering when you'd be stopping by. Welcome to engineering. Anything they can dream up in the research labs, we can build it here. Speaking of which, Dr. Valen has just sent us some new schematics. With your approval, we will begin fabrication.
Commander to mission control. Commander to mission control.
Medkit. I think I might not... Well, what the heck, I'll buy one now. I was just saying we don't have a support yet, but to be honest, I don't think a low-level support can make any better use of a medkit than any other soldier. So the main purpose of the medkit, or main use of the medkit, let's say, is to heal a wounded soldier on the battlefield, or to stabilize a soldier who has been mortally wounded. I'm not sure exactly how the mechanics work, but sometimes when your soldier is injured to the point of having 0 hit points left, sometimes they just die outright, and sometimes they become critically injured and will bleed out after a certain number of turns. If you can treat them with a medkit, then that stabilizes them. They're still out for the rest of the mission, but they survive. The other items that we can build now are satellites. We start with one satellite uplink, and we start with one satellite over the first country that we're based in. So right now we're based in Nigeria. We have one satellite over Nigeria. We have one additional satellite that we can launch. We need to build additional satellite uplinks in order to launch more satellites. So I will make that a relative priority, building of satellites and uplinks, just to increase the amount of money that we earn from month to month. Also, launching a satellite over a country reduces its panic, so it can be launching a satellite can be a way of bringing a country down from a level at which they would leave XCOM. So sometimes it's not a bad idea to delay launching satellites until the country you want to launch it over is at a high level of panic. So let me have a look at some facilities here. We have an uplink here. Some places where we can build thermal generators. So let's see if we want to build another uplink. We need 10 engineers, and we don't have 10 yet. So we can't even start building a second uplink. Yeah, the thermal generator, I think, is... We'll probably need that by the time we get down here.
Commander to mission control.
I don't think there's anything we want to build right now. Eventually we want to build a satellite uplink here, the thermal generator here. This little quad of 4 could all be satellite uplinks. Over here is where we might put alien containment, cybernetics lab, genetics lab, and so forth. And we'll need to build an access lift soon to get down to this level. But right now I think we're good. Okay, we've been summoned to mission control. Okay, so here's our list of upcoming events. Our research into weapon fragments will be done in 8 days, and in 31 days, on April 1st, we will have our first council report. So in the meantime, we'll scan for activity, and that will queue up a new mission. We don't know what it will be yet, but we'll find out shortly. Alien abductions reported. Let's view the abduction sites.
Commander, we've picked up multiple requests for assistance. Abductions in progress are marked on the hologlobe.
Okay. So the locations are Buenos Aires, Argentina. Currently the panic there is at the minimum of 1. The difficulty of this mission is moderate, and the reward is 4 scientists. St. John's, Newfoundland, Canada. Also, the current panic in Canada is 0. This is an easy mission, and the reward is straight up credits. And the third option is Osaka. Panic here is currently at 1. It is an easy mission, and the reward is 4 engineers. Okay, so the countries that you ignore, well, let's put it this way. If you ignore a abduction site, the panic in the country you ignored, I believe, goes up by 2, and the panic in all other countries in that continent go up by 1. So, if we were to do this Argentina mission, the panic in Brazil and Argentina would stay at 1. The panic in Canada would increase to 3, and the panic in the United States and Mexico would increase to 2. And in Japan, the panic would increase to 3. Russia and China and Australia, or is it Australia? Okay, I'm not 100% sure. The countries that make up Asia would also increase by 2. Now, as I mentioned earlier, my plan is to launch satellites in these 2 countries sooner rather than later. So in that sense, keeping the panic in these countries down low isn't quite the same priority, because I'm going to address or reduce their panic in the future. The other place that I'm likely to launch a satellite is over the United States, because the United States provides the greatest funding, the most funding out of any of the other member nations. So I might be doing North and South America first. In that, and by that, I was going to say by that reasoning, these countries I can afford to let get more panicked, I guess is what it comes down to. Whereas I don't have immediate plans to launch satellites in Asia, so I think I would rather keep the panic down here. Plus, I don't mind getting 4 engineers. That will reduce the costs of the items that we want to build. So, for example, satellites cost 100 based on the 5 engineers that we've got. If we get 4 more engineers, that'll reduce the cost of those satellites, which we certainly want to build at some point. So yeah, we will go to Osaka, Japan in the next episode. However, I'm going to end this one here. So thank you very much for joining me for Dratman Plays XCOM Enemy Within Episode 1. I hope that you'll join me for Episode 2, where we go to Osaka, Japan, to deal with this abduction site. Bye-bye.